afternoon and welcome. That was my fear. I was going to trip on the way up here. I got that out of the way. Didn't happen. Maybe on the way down. We'll see. It's wonderful to see everyone here. Recognize for folks in the back, there are still some seats up at the front. Nice to see a good crowd here today. Thank you for joining us. I think I should just note that this is a really important topic, thinking about the current context, which is in the midst of a mental health crisis. And that is certainly, and was perhaps most early recognized in youth coming out of COVID. But looking at the statistics, it really spans well beyond that. So I'm Jeremy Veenstra-Vanderweele. I'm interim chair here in the Department of Psychiatry at Columbia. And it's really my pleasure to have gotten to know all of our speakers, and we're really in for a treat today. Hearing about an important critical topic, hope over the horizon, improving depression outcomes and reducing suicide risk. I think as we're all aware, there is an urgent need to deliver on some of what we know, as well as to deliver new knowledge. And here at Columbia, the Center for the Prevention and Treatment of Depression is targeted to really address the full spectrum from discovering the causes and potential new interventions, as well as how to better target the interventions that we have, as well as to provide care. And I think importantly, to provide care with the knowledge that we have right now. And we certainly are aware that, unfortunately, much of what we know isn't immediately delivered in the settings where it needs to be. And that's certainly something that we work on here in the community in Washington Heights and Northern Manhattan, but something that is also part of the goal of the center to really take what we know and disseminate that so that we're raising the standard of care, not just here, but across the country and throughout the world. And part of that, I think, is making sure that we're taping sessions like this to be able to share cutting-edge science. And what you'll hear today is really taking us from an understanding of what depression is, what that experience is, what we know how to do right now, and think about how we take emerging knowledge, new tools, from things that we carry in our pockets to molecules that we can study across animal models and in the human brain to deliver on potential new treatments. So very excited to get to introduce that. I will say that the goal here is to be able to provide regular updates from the center, and that's part of the center's mission, that the center has been doing that for the scientific community. This also is the opportunity to give updates for the community at large to understand how that may translate over time, those treatments that are right over the horizon. Before I hand off, I want to give a special thanks to the Saks Fifth Avenue Foundation. Just recognizing the support of the foundation certainly makes today possible, but has also made some of the work possible that you're going to hear about today, as well as additional work. And I think this is one of the amazing things about philanthropy, that it can both spark investigators to do critical work, train people to deliver care in the community, and allow sharing of that outward. And to give one example of how that has impact, the pilot grants, and there have now been 17 of them that have gone from the Saks Foundation to investigators here at Columbia in the department, have already brought back $13 million in additional funding. And that's on the research side. Those grants also go to folks who become the clinicians of the future, who become the clinician scientists, so that will only grow over time. But an example of the sort of leverage that this sort of contribution support can realize for all of us. So thank you to the Foundation for support. Thank all of you for coming. And I'm pleased to introduce Randy Auerbach. And actually, let me pause for just a second. I meant to highlight earlier both Randy Auerbach and John Mann as the directors of our center. And I'm pleased to hand off to Randy to do further introductions. Randy is one of the co-directors and also a professor here in medical psychology in our department. Randy.